Welcome back to Yehoshua's Daf Yomi Shiur, where the Daf continues daily until the complete revelation of Mashiach ben David, Messiah, the son of David. Today we are looking at 85b of Chullin, page 85b, the last two words starting a new idea of Rabbi Abba. We're on 85a, so Amar Rabbi Abba, now we're on 85b, top of the page. Lo lakol amar Rabbi Meir shchita she'eno ruya shema shchita moed Rabbi Meir she'en matiraso ba'achila velo lakol amar Rabbi Shimon shchita she'eno ruya lo shema shchita moed Rabbi Shimon shemitar tomidei nevelo. Not with regard to all halachot did Rabbi Meir say an act of slaughter that is not fit. For example, where one slaughters a treifa is considered an act of slaughter, as Rabbi Meir does concede that such an act of slaughter does not render the meat of the animal permitted for consumption. And not with regard to all halachot did Rabbi Shimon say an act of slaughter that is not fit is not considered an act of slaughter, as Rabbi Shimon does concede that such an act of slaughter renders the animal pure from having the impure status of an unslaughtered animal carcass. Amar lo lakol amar Rabbi Meir shchita she'eno ruya shema shchita moed Rabbi Meir she'matira ba'achila pshito treifa b'shchita mi mishtario. The Gemara analyzes this statement. The master said that not with regard to all halachot did Rabbi Meir say an act of slaughter that is not fit is considered an act of slaughter, as Rabbi Meir concedes that such an act of slaughter does not render the meat of the animal permitted for consumption. The Gemara asks, isn't this obvious? Can a treifa become permitted for consumption through slaughter? Lo tzricha l'shoichet et treifa u'matzaba ben tisha chai. So Rabbi Meir shchita she'eno ruya shema shchita tahani le shchita simoi liboye shchita kamashmalan. The Gemara answers, no, this statement of Rabbi Abba is necessary in a case where one slaughtered a treifa and found a living 9-month-old fetus inside it. It might enter your mind to say, it since Rabbi Meir said that an act of slaughter that is not fit to render the meat permitted is considered an act of slaughter, the slaughter of its mother should be effective to render the meat of the fetus permitted for consumption, as it normally does when the mother is not a treifa. And the fetus, after it is born, should not require its own slaughter. Rabbi Abba therefore teaches us that according to Rabbi Meir, slaughter that does not render the meat of the mother permitted for consumption does not render the fetus permitted either. But it is berod. The Gemara asks, and how can you understand that without Rabbi Abba's statement that one would have thought that according to Rabbi Meir the fetus does not require its own slaughter? But doesn't Rabbi Meir say that a fetus removed from its mother's womb after the mother was properly slaughtered, that Bekur requires slaughter, as the slaughter of the mother does not permit the fetus? Lo tzricha. No, it's necessary. The Rabbi Savar Rabbi Meir Savar Karban Savar Rabbi Meir Davar Shchita she'eno ruya shema shchita v'Savar Karban Amri Shchita imoy mitahar doi. The Gemara responds, the statement of Rabbi Abba is not necessary for the opinion of Rabbi Meir, but it is for the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. This is because Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi holds in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir in one instance, and holds in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis in another. In a case where one slaughtered a mother and its offspring on the same day, he holds in accordance with the opinion of the Rabbi Meir, who says an act of slaughter that is unfit to render the meat permitted is considered an act of slaughter. And with regard to Ben Pekuah, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi holds in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis, who hold that proper slaughter of the mother renders the fetus kosher, meaning the fetus does not require its own ritual slaughter. Therefore, since the rabbis say the proper slaughter of the mother renders the fetus kosher, one might conclude that with regard to a treifa as well, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi holds the slaughter of the mother should it be effective To render the meat of the fetus permitted for consumption and should not require its own slaughter. In light of this, Rabbi teaches that although Yehuda Hanasi agrees that Rabbi Meir in an ineffective slaughter is considered an active slaughter, Yehuda Hanasi holds that in the case of a treifa, the slaughter of the mother is not effective for the fetus. ולא לכל אבל בשמעון שחיטה שאין ראויה לשמו שחיטה מועד רבי שמעון שמותר תמידין ולפשיטה דבר רבי יהודה אמריו שיום למנסיס את תנא וכי ימוס מן בהמה מקצת בהמה מטמאו מקצת בהמה אין מטמאו ואיזו זו טרפה ששלטה. The Gemara addresses hold on here. The Gemara addresses the second statement of Rabbi Abba, and not with regard to all halachot. Did Rabbi Shimon say an act of slaughter that is considered an act of slaughter? Rabbi Shimon concedes that such an act of slaughter renders the animal pure from having the impure status of an unslaughtered animal carcass. The Gemara asks, isn't this obvious? As Rabbi Yehuda says, or Rav says, and some say it was taught in Braita, the verse states with regard to animal carcass. And if there dies of the animals, he that touches this carcass shall be unclean. Leviticus 11:39. The word of indicates as some animals transmit impurity as a carcass, and some animals do not transmit impurity. And which animal does not? That is a treifa that one slaughtered. Lo tzricha. Okay, we'll pause here. And we're back, continuing with the words lo tzricha. Right? לא צריך לשחוט את טרפה בהי לחולים והזורי דתניו שוחט את טרפה וכן שוחט ונמצאת טרפה זה וזה חולים והזורי בשמעון מתיר בנו וחכמים מויסרים. The Gemara responds no. Rabbi Abba's statement is necessary in the case of one who slaughters a treifa and it is a non-sacred animal in the temple courtyard as it is taught in a Braita. In the case of one who slaughters a known treifa, and likewise one who slaughters an animal and it was where was I lost the place. Accordingly, it slipped down. Okay, the Gemara responds no. Rabbi Abba's statement is necessary in the case of one who slaughters a treifa and it is a non-sacred animal in the temple courtyard, as is taught in Braita. In the case of one who slaughters a known treifa, and likewise one who slaughters an animal and it was found to be a treifa, and this and that were non-sacred animals slaughtered in the temple courtyard, Rabbi Shimon permits one to derive benefit from them, as one is not considered to have transgressed the prohibition against slaughtering a non-sacred animal in the temple courtyard, and the rabbis prohibit one to derive benefit from them. Sol kedaitich. Sol kedaitich amina hoyel Amar Shimon mutabana alamala shchita hi klal ema midei nevela nami lo mitadal kamashman. Accordingly, it might enter your mind to say, since Rabbi Shimon says it is permitted to derive benefit from such an animal, evidently slaughtering a treifa is not considered slaughter at all. Therefore, say that slaughter does not have the ability to purify the treifa from having the status of a ritually impure animal carcass either. Rabbi Abba therefore teaches us that even according to Rabbi Shimon, the slaughter is effective to remove it from the status of a carcass. Amalei Rav Papa le'Abaye v'sovar b'Shimon chulin ba'azor d'raisei amalei in Yotnan Rabbi Shimon omer chulin shenishchatu ba'azor yisachvu ba'eish chen chaya shenishchatu ba'azor I amart b'shlomo d'raiso hainu d'gazrinon chaya atu behema. Rav Papa said to Abaye, and does Rabbi Shimon hold that the prohibition against deriving benefit from non-sacred animals slaughtered in the temple courtyard is by Torah law? Abaye said to Rav Papa, yes, he does. And we learned in the Mishnah in Temurah 33b that Rabbi Shimon says non-sacred animals that were slaughtered in the temple courtyard shall be burned in the fire. And likewise, an undomesticated animal that was slaughtered in the temple courtyard shall be burned in the fire. Abai continues, granted, if you say the meat of a non-sacred domesticated animal slaughtered in the temple courtyard is forbidden by Torah law, this is the reason why we decree that the meat of an undomesticated animal is prohibited as well, due to the Torah prohibition against deriving benefit from the meat of a domesticated animal. Ela yamid rabbanon behema maitai dilma silme chalkot jimachutz hi guva gezero v'ananikum v'nigzor gzero gzero. But if you say the meat of domesticated animals is forbidden by rabbinic law, then the mission is difficult. What is the reason the meat of a non-sacred domesticated animal is forbidden? It is forbidden unless one sees someone consuming this meat outside the temple courtyard and then arrive at the erroneous conclusion that it is permitted to partake of sacrificial meat outside the temple courtyard. If so, the prohibition against deriving benefit from the meat of a non-sacred domesticated animal itself is a rabbinic decree, and we will then proceed to issue a decree prohibiting one to derive benefit from a non-sacred undomesticated animal in order to prevent the violation of a decree. Rabbi Chia nafal le Yaniva bechitane. Also the comment of Rabbi Yamar Shkol Oifa Shkod al Bubita Demayo Demoirach Dema Bishavakli. The Mishnah teaches that one who stabs an undomesticated animal or bird who tears loose its windpipe and gullet is exempt from covering the blood. With regard to this, the Gemara relates, moths infested the flax of Rabbi Chia. He came before Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi to ask how to get rid of the moths. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi said to him, take a bird and slaughter it over a tub of water in which the flax seed was soaked, as the moths will smell the blood and leave the flax. Hechi avid hachi v'tanya. The Gemara asks, how could Rabbi Chia do this? But isn't it taught in a Braita, one who slaughters a bird or an domesticated animal and does so only because he needs the blood is nevertheless obligated to cover the blood and may not use it for any other purpose? Rather, how should one who needs the blood act? He either stabs it or tears loose its windpipe and its gullet so that it is not killed with an act of slaughter. How then could Rabbi Chia use the blood of the bird that he slaughtered to rid his flax of the moths? Ki asar dimi amar tzei tzrov amar le ki asar avin amar tzei nechor amar le. The Gemara responds, when Rav Dimi came from Eretz Israel, he said that Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi said to Rabbi Chia, go out and render the bird a treifa and then slaughter it, as the Mishnah teaches that one who slaughters a treifa is not required to cover its blood. When Ravin came from Eretz Yisrael, he said that Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi said to Rabbi Chia, go out and tear loose the bird's windpipe and gullet. Eesh, it's tzar l'chaim, no? L'man damar tzei tzarov, my time elo omar tzei nechor. The Gemara asks, according to the one who says that Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi said to Rabbi Chia, go and render the bird a treifa, what is the reason that Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi did not say, go out and tear loose its windpipe and gullet? Because of it in shchita life minatoire unichiraso zuhi shchitaso v'tanya Rav Yomer kaisher tzivisicha malavet shenitztabo moishal reshet v'alekone v'alroi v'chad be'oif v'alroi v'shnayim be'behemo. And if you would say the reason is because Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi holds that slaughter of a bird is not obligatory by Torah law, and consequently the tearing loose of its windpipe and gullet is considered its slaughter, such that he would be required to cover the blood, this is untenable, as isn't it taught in the Braita that Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi says, the verse states, and you shall slaughter as I have commanded you, Deuteronomy 12:21. This teaches that Moses was previously commanded concerning the mitzvah of slaughter, meaning he was taught about the gullet and the windpipe, that the cutting of these simanim constitutes slaughter, and about the requirement to cut the majority of one siman of a bird, and about the requirement to cut the majority of two simanim of an animal. If so, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi holds that the slaughter of a bird is obligatory by Torah law. Interesting.